Which failed presidential candidate do you feel the most sorry for? There are a ton of presidential candidates who ran for the presidency once or twice who failed to win their election: Al Gore, Hillary Clinton, Mitt Romney, John McCain, Bob Dole, Walter Mondale, Mike Dukakis, John Kerry, Jeb Bush, Bernie Sanders and Ron Paul. Which one do you feel the most sorry for and why? Gore. Election unfairly taken from him. And America, its allies, could look entirely different today when it comes to renewable energy. The environment, had he won, for the far better. Al Smith mostly lost because he was Catholic. But, about 7 months after the inauguration of Hoover, the Great Depression began, so maybe dodged a bullet. Honestly, Hillary. She had a 25-year campaign against her to drag her through the mud by conservatives. Her husband cheated on her and it was aired in the most public of ways. Is she a saint? No. But also, most of the problems people had with her are either overblown or based on fiction. She would have been one of the most accomplished presidents we've had and also prevented, at least temporarily, the rise of the cult of Donald Trump, which she also warned about. I'm fully expecting the replies to this to be a shit show. John McCain in his primary run versus Bush. He would have been a better wartime president than Bush, and the slimy way Karl Rove slandered him was a disgrace. I think we probably never would have invaded Iraq under McCain. And we might have even succeeded in Afghanistan. Henry Clay or William Jennings Bryan. Popular enough to be on a ticket 3 times. Lost all 3 times. McCain. To be honest, he was one of the last reasonable Republican. And the Trump shitheads degraded him and made fun of him being a fucking POW. As a veteran, that absolutely disgusts me. I'd say Taft, not for any political reasons but because it sucks having fake friends. Which one do you feel the most sorry for and why? Paul Tsongas was a co-founder of the Concord Coalition, a bipartisan group in the late 80s, early 90s. He was a moderate Democrat who actually got creamed by the Republican spin machine as being too liberal. They painted him as Michael Dukakis Light, just another liberal Greek American from Massachusetts. Tsongas ended up dying of lymphoma before he could get his message out in any penetrating way and before the Concord Coalition could gain any real traction. I feel for John McCain. He loved the U.S. He was honorable. And he would have been a good president. There was just no overcoming the hype people had for Obama in 2008. McCain could have won in maybe 1996 or 2000. But in 2008 he was the wrong person at the wrong time. Romney was dead to rights about Russia and had a lot of good ideas for efficient government. Pretty damn good record of leadership in both Utah and Massachusetts. He's a top what-if candidate. To a lot of us in the middle. Al Gore. I think the trajectory of the U.S. and the world would be a bit better had he been elected. Like he should have. The Electoral College is bullshit. Michael Dukakis, your first is always special. HRC, she would have spared all of us a lot of heartbreak and suffering. Ross Perot. Everything he said was true. NAFTA did in fact suck away American jobs. The FBI was in fact covertly investigating him. I didn't know at the time that he had personally arranged for a paramilitary rescue of Iran hostages. It never went through. Nixon in 1960. JFK won because of looks. First televised debates and campaigns. Nixon won the debates and people loved him on radio. It was interesting to see the face be the winner. You can really see the recency bias in the replies. But that is to be expected. In my opinion. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of his policies. Probably William Jennings Bryan. Ran multiple times and could never get there. Truly cared for America. I do think his foreign policy would have been much better than McKinley. Runner-up probably Thomas Dewey. Mike Pence. Imagine being as fucking oblivious as Mike. He wholeheartedly went along with Trump's bullshit right up until he was told to publicly disavow democracy. Either he thought the people not in the Trump cult would forget about child separation and a billion other super fucked up things, or he thought people in the Trump cult would forget he betrayed their demigod. He burned in with both sides of one of the most polarizing things in American history and thought that a bunch of people would still like him enough to make him president. That's a special kind of stupid. It must be a perplexing and terrifying experience. Gore. Dude deserved to have a recount and should've, but Republicans are who they are and cheat to win. Probably Howard Dean or Bernie. Dean was in a very strong position prior to the scream, which was really just well-marketed bad publicity take. Out of context. He was capable, very progressive, and ran a tight ship. One scream turned into a meme took away everything. Define failed and is feel sorry for ideal phrasing? Carter wasn't elected for a second term and I don't feel sorry for him. I have great respect for him. Al Gore and Hillary Clinton both won the election, but had the presidency stolen from them. Romney. I think it was one of our best elections. There were actually two decent candidates. Gore. Because we would not have the wars with Iraq and Afghanistan, saving hundreds of thousands of lives. Literally. There is no doubt in my view that Al Gore was to me like Superman. He wanted to save the planet and all its inhabitants. I am glad he put out the inconvenient truth. He would have made environmental changes that would have made a difference. I watched him after. He looked like a broken man. Like really? I wanted to save your lives and got a no thanks. What happened was truly heartbreaking for me, at least such a darn shame. Dukakis. That debate was rigged against him and he was made to look like a clown despite his time as governor of MA. You know what, Kerry too. Both gotten beat by Bushes. Gore likely got directly robbed and without question won the popular. Bernie never made it out of a primary. Has spent his career getting roundly fucked by the DNC. Was the probably nominee last year. The week before Super Tuesday when Obama called the Super Friends and Buttigieg, Harris and Klobuchar dropped and endorsed Biden, rounding out the fucking and ending his chances. Pretty fucking gross. I'm annoyed Hillary lost. But at least she did so legitimately because she was so shit at electoral political strategy and connecting with voters. Completely punted the ball in what was probably the least losable election for Dems ever. Howard Dean. His campaign was ruined because he'd a funny noise. Considering everything we've dealt with since, it comes across as particularly absurd. Beto O'Rourke. That man ran for president, Texas senator, and Texas governor. All 3 times Texas said no. Hillary Clinton. Say what you want about her, but she got 2.9 million more votes than orange fascist. Bernie for sure. The Dems are absolutely convinced a self-proclaimed socialist and Jew could never win a presidential election. So they fought tooth and nail to make sure he didn't win in 2016 and 2020. He had very good runs while taking no corporate money. Just grassroots donations. That's amazing, a president with no corporate money behind him? Imagine. But maybe the Dems are right. America has never had a Jewish president. Or a socialist president. But it's hard to imagine someone losing to Trump worse than Hillary. And America has also never had a female president. None. They all continue to live the middle upper class lifestyle while half the country loves paycheck to paycheck. I have my sympathy placed with the people.